Hello there, superhumans. Welcome to Wooville, and we're discussing the Mandela Effect. I'm going to share with you the Mandela Effect explained by Ben on Rise TV. I'll leave a link in the description box below for Rise TV. They've got a lot of woo there. But today we're going to be talking about what is the Mandela Effect, and then we're going to dive into the thinker. So be prepared. It may not be what you think, but at the end of the video, I will share with you as a QHHT practitioner what I'm learning through my own clients, what the Mandela Effect actually is. So let's roll the video.
By now, pretty much everyone has heard of the Mandela Effect, where we're all either crazy and remembering things wrong, or something truly paranormal is happening. And it is happening right in the open. Where you think you remember something one way, but now it's not that way at all. Perhaps you've seen a movie or a logo, and now that movie just doesn't exist anymore, or the logo has changed. Well, by now, most of you know that the Mandela Effect is one of my favorite topics because it was really the one thing that completely blew my mind with basically proof of how we are living in multiple realities. So recently, I was talking to one of my friends about C-3PO's silver leg, and he looked at me and said, "What do you mean? He never had a silver leg." At that point, I began to crack my knuckles as I watched his facial expression change from confusion to completely mind blown. And for those of you who are still unsure about this Mandela Effect, check out this public service announcement that they made at the same time they were shooting Star Wars.
Come along, R2. You can't have whooping cough. Droids don't get dangerous diseases like whooping cough or measles, but children do, and they can get very sick, even die. R2, let me tell them. Parents of Earth, childhood diseases can be prevented. Call your doctor or local health department. Immunize your children, please. And may the Force be with you.
As you can see, C-3PO doesn't have a silver leg. And again, this was done the same time they were shooting Star Wars. Also,
All right. And I actually remember that. I am old enough that I was a teenager when Star Wars came out. And I promise you, he did not have a silver leg. And I'm not misremembering that. Many of my friends who I went to see the movie with, who are still around today, actually have said the same thing. He didn't have a silver leg. I also remember that commercial. No silver leg. So, let me bring your attention to the portrait taken in 1906 by George Bernard Shaw, and it demonstrates the fist to forehead pose. Now, this pose is completely different to the actual thinker statue by Rodin, who was still alive and with whom he was friends. Additionally, George sent a copy of the photo to Rodin. Now, don't you find it odd that George, did he actually mimic his friend's work? Was he making fun of it? Did he misremember it? Or is there something else going on? Maybe he remembered it correctly, but this photo did not shift with a different timeline. Moving forward 4 more years to 1910, he recreated this photo and sent to his friend. Now, is he again mocking his friends? Is he misremembering how the thinking statue was carved? Or did this photo just miss the timeline shift? This TV show aired between 1959 and 1963, The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. And as you see, the actor is shown a couple of times trying to mimic the thinker, the replica. Now, if you really want to get mind blown, take a second and notice the photograph of the thinker. And now look at it in the IBM commercial created in 1989. Do you think it looks a little different? There it is. There it is in 1989. And here it is according to Encyclopedia Britannica. So, is it faulty memories or is there changing timelines? What's actually going on? Also, could it be the Mandela Effect and deja vu are related? Let's watch this little tidbit here by Ben on rise.tv.
What if deja vu was connected to the Mandela Effect? Suddenly, I was hit by one of the strongest deja vu feelings I have ever had in my life. I told this fan that I thought he might be right. It was like something opened up in me and I could see different realities and realize that we were both onto something here. Now, I've noticed that whenever I have deja vu, I find a new Mandela effect. So it seems that we are either one, shifting into different realities, two, seeing into a different time space what we are doing or who we are, or three, something about the past, present, and future are all aligning and we are able to see them for a moment. Now, I don't really know for sure, but I do believe that the Mandela effect is connected to deja vu.
All right, so now how does that relate to what I'm discovering with my clients? So I've had several clients over the years that we kind of deep dive into the Mandela effect consistently from people who don't know each other are telling me in more simplistic terms that it's actually there is a multiverse. There is like the quantum foam. Every decision that you make creates a new or different timeline, if you will. Now, to go in and get a little bit deeper, because this concept, according to my people, when they are under, is that the concept can be very difficult, very layered, and there is not one simple example. But to suffice to say this, that when you go in to your higher self and you go through healing of a trauma or a tragic event in your own life, or you heal an imbalance in your body, just something as simple as that, that imbalance actually could be tied to some ancestral noise that happened that got passed down through your DNA. Now, bear with me. Now, as you go through the healing process, say it is through the DNA, when you heal, it actually sends out a ripple effect to the universal field. And whoever had that experience in your past, in your ancestry, for example, they get healed too. Now, if that is actually being healed in somebody from the past, so you've healed yourself, you've healed any offspring that you've had, and you've healed your ancestors, all of them who were touched by this trauma. So say you had an ever so great grandfather that went through a trauma. I have that myself in my own family. He was massacred at Nickajack, Tennessee in 1781. That has a ripple effect to every person that witnessed that event. So even though my grandfather was the one who died in that event, his family members, his sons, in fact, who witnessed him being slaughtered, then was traumatized, and that energy was imprinted on his cellular memory. And those cells, including the reproductive cells, gets passed through down to several of us in this generation living in the 21st century. But if you go back and you heal that aspect, that trauma energy that is lodged in me, that has a ripple effect and it goes out and it heals everyone else that that event touched. Now what happens? As you know, with energy healing, once the electromagnetic flow gets cleaner, then you will begin to shift and change. So therefore, by me healing that trauma, that generational trauma within myself, and I'm just using me because I can talk about me, but I can't always talk about my clients. And it was a pretty significant event. Once that event is actually healed, then guess what? Anybody who is affected by that, they change too. Throughout time, they may actually make different decisions because they no longer have the traumatic event or what Dr. Bradley Nelson calls even a miasm. Once that event is cleared, then that shifts them. Now what happens? Now the person who, for example, in Ben's video, he might be showing that the person does select a silver leg, albeit small. The smallest little things shift our electromagnetic flow, not only within us, but everyone else that it touched throughout time and space. And as that ship begins to right itself, then you begin to see it show up in your now reality. So, with that said, if you want to go into further Mandela effects, we are going to go in it here. I'm calling my new videos on this Wooville, and we're going to go deep diving into that. And then also, I'll be touching base on Too Hot for Fluff Tube later. I sort of backed off on that a little bit because I'm not trying to create discord. And I just want to present information, things that we observe, and things for you to think about in the future. So I'll end this video here with that. I hope you had a fabulous time watching Rise.tv with Ben. Just go visit that website and see what else is going on. They've got all kinds of wonderful shows that you might find interesting if you like all things woo. For that, now, before we go, this is my thinker statue that my dad received as a gift in 1976. I find it a little difficult to think that this thinker statue that was probably mass-produced was mass-produced incorrectly. But because it is kind of abstract art, it didn't get caught up in that time shift. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you're seeing the Mandela effect, either you have been healed or somebody else has been healed, and there has been a ripple effect, and it goes throughout time and space, forward and backwards. It's a lot to think about. Anyway, please give this a like and share this video with like-minded people. And we are going to go further into woo in upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.